Totally.
Oh, looks like this beach was a little too much beach for you, Ken.
Anyone who wants to beach him off has to beach me off first.
I will beach both of you off at the same time.
But you don't even know how to beat yourself off. How are you going to beat both of us off? It doesn't make sense.
Ken?
And
Why are
even
you
beat
getting
yourself off.
emotional?
You're going to beat both of us off?
Nobody's gonna beach anyone off.
So what happens to us when we're insulted or slighted in front of someone that we want to impress? Our answer to that will, one, depend on how secure we are with ourselves. If we're feeling really sure of ourselves and we know who we are as a person, we might be able to kind of brush it off and not even worry. But if we're stressed, upset, or feel like we're not really respected or noticed by the other person, or not as secure in our sense of self, then this might be that opportunity that we have to in order to show how tough and strong we are. And I think that the confrontations between the two Kens, Gosling's and Liu's Ken, are absolutely adorable. You can let me know which one you hoped to win or was your favorite in the comments below. Actually, security is often not having to fight, not being in the fight. And it's not really if you win or lose, but I think that for many of us, we feel like if we win a fight, well, that proves to us that we're tough and strong. But really, we wouldn't need to if we already felt that in the first place and believed it.
Oh, hi, Ken.
Hi.
Ken is adorable. Like, out of everyone, I think that Ken just steals the limelight.
Hi, Barbie.
I feel it. I feel it. There's another Ken that's getting close to his Barbie. Why is he doing it? Why is he there? I can hear everything that's happening inside of Ken's mind. And he's gonna have to do something before Barbie gets close to another Ken and maybe likes him more than him. He's so cute. And the way that he like goes onto the dance floor and then right away he's like doing his little tiny moves, like he's getting already before he gets on, he's getting himself prepped, right? Like before fights, we often get ourselves revved up for action so that we're prepared. In these kind of cases, when we're going to do something physical, it actually is beneficial to have some anxiety, to have that adrenaline in your system. And that's why you'll see fighters kind of punch themselves or jump up and down or talk themselves into the mode so that they can use that to be better, to be faster on their feet. We are stronger, faster, and much more able to handle physical things when we have a little bit of adrenaline. So he's kind of psyching himself up, have a dance battle with the other Ken to be able to win Barbie's affection, or at least her attention. Ryan Gosling does such a good job of being Ken, adorably cute, because you can kind of read everything. He's playing Ken like kind of like a 7-year-old to like a prepubescent boy, and that's kind of the age where Barbies are this rave, that we're going through that adulthood and maybe still playing with Barbies. Is it too old to play with Barbies? Maybe that was too old to play with Barbies. Nah, it's never too old. Anyways, but it's just so cute because you can see him as this like little boy that's so excited, and his facial features, you can read everything that he thinks right on his face. And some people are really transparent. For Ken, everything that he feels, you can feel it so directly. Like he can't fake how he feels. You just know it. And there's some people that's who they are. You know exactly where you stand with them, which I find really refreshing. Well, for Ken, it's really endearing. If they were like really angry and bitter all the time, you might not want to know. But if they're positive emotions or cute or sweet emotions, then it helps other people feel that as well. And I just feel so much from Ken.
What's up, Ken?
And even though Barbie is gone, he's gonna finish the routine. When Liu's Ken suddenly shows up, he's like, oh, it's you again. But he doesn't not do the ending of his dance routine. He also knows, like, I have to finish the dance routine. I'd already started it. And some people are kind of completionists. They're gonna have to finish whatever they started, even if they no longer want to.
You can't do a flip like that, Ken.
Because of the way that he plays the character and how Ken goes through all of his emotions, I really empathize with him.
Wow.
You can go now.
You see how much Ken adores Barbie, and to have this unrequited love where he's kind of wearing his emotions on his sleeve and nothing is being reciprocated. And I find it so hurtful the way that Ken gets treated throughout this. And for Barbie, she's just oblivious to it. She just sees him as an acquaintance, but not really giving him the same respect that she would show to other Barbies.
I thought I might stay over tonight.
Why?
Because we're girlfriend-boyfriend.
To do what?
I'm actually not sure.
I love the innocence of it. I love the way he plays it off, that he knows that he's supposed to do this because it's what you're supposed to do, but he doesn't know really what that is. But the way that he kind of closes his eyes, but he's just happy to be in her presence at the same time. I find it endearing and adorable.
Oh, but I don't want you here.
Is it Ken?
Like, oh, there's so many daggers that he takes to the heart, and he handles it so well. To constantly feel like you're shoved aside and your feelings and your thoughts don't really matter can really weigh heavily upon someone else. And he carries on such a brave face with it, but you can tell that it hurts him.
Ken's just a really good friend. And this is my dream house. It's Barbie's dream house. It's not Ken's dream house, right?
Right, as always.
Oh, and she makes her boundaries really exceptionally clear. And just because Ken likes her, just because Ken wants to have a relationship, that doesn't mean that Barbie has to offer this. This is something that just because someone wants something from you, it doesn't mean you have to give something to someone else. Other people's expectations are not your obligations. She has her own boundaries and what she cares for and what she doesn't, and then it's up to Ken to be able to respect that. But to care about someone more than they care about you is a very difficult position to be in also.
And it's girls' night.
Every night's girls' night.
Every night. Forever.
But from Ken's point of view, you can definitely feel how many times his soul gets crushed in this movie.
What's going on? Why are these men looking at me?
Yeah, they're also staring at me.
But his reaction to being stared at, he's just excited to get the attention. And remember, when we talk about rewards and attention, we want good attention first. We'll take bad attention next. So even being yelled at is better than no attention at all. And for Ken, he's been deprived of any feelings of being important or getting attention. So anything feels really good to him. But he's also really naive, and he believes that this attention, even though he's being mocked, he reads it as they like him. And that can often happen. One, if we're really young and naive, we see everyone else the way that we see ourselves. And so since we love everyone and we care about everyone, we might reflect that back and think that everyone must be being nice and kind to us. And I think that we can sometimes look back on our child and be like, oh, they were being mean to me, but I thought that they were being nice, or I thought they were actually genuinely my friend. Or we're so excited to have friendship that we put up with behavior that we shouldn't have.
I feel kind of ill at ease.
I'm not getting any of that. I feel what can only be described as admired. There's no undertone of violence.
Mine very much has an undertone of violence.
Completely misreading the situation. But yes, I think that they're all kind of bemused by watching them in these outfits. Though I think that often people would just assume that they're doing a video or doing something with this. We kind of like to look at anything that happens to be different, even if it's not in a bad way. So I think that they are both reading the situation completely differently, because Barbie already gets a ton of attention, and so she's reading this a little bit better, but she also isn't as needy. And sometimes people can be exceptionally needy for any kind of attention, and sometimes that means that they can become a little bit too much or become overly clingy because of that.
Everything's almost like reversed here.
And you see that mischievous smile of like, and I like it. It is that like boyish child that has no clue that he's actually in trouble, or he's just so excited to be there, to have his name tag and to have his photo taken, that you just see this joy.
Me a leotard.
I love the elbow pads.
I think we should get some different clothes.
Because he's lacking in attention and he isn't used to being thought of in positive ways or respected. That this world is the opposite of the way that Barbie is. This is the flip side to it. And he really loves that. Oh, that's where he gets the jacket from. You see some guy coming out of this powerful thing wearing this white fur coat. Hilarious.
What's up, man?
We got man up on this one.
Great workout, man.
So Ken, who's been in this world of being oppressed in the real world, it's men that have the power. It's men that are respected and having these high-powered jobs, and they talk to each other and they're all brutish and tough and respected for that. And he's starting to really like it. And you can think that if you have been disenfranchised or oppressed for most of your life, and if that's the culture, that it causes a lot of physiological effects. It can cause aggression, anxiety, also depression, where you can feel hopeless, that nothing that you say or do really matters, when your voice has no weight to it, when people look past you or look through you. I think a lot of us have gone through that feeling of we're not really listened to or respected, and that can be dependent on gender, on the way that you dress, on your culture, on religious differences, on where you were born, and also economic status. And that can be so suffocating. You can understand how Ken being able to see that there's a different place, a place where he matters and he's cared about, would be so empowering, that you might get lost in that. And what is disenfranchisement? I think it's a word that's thrown around a lot. Not having the right to vote, not being represented, having no say in what happens to you.
So I'm not worried about it. Not now, Margaret. Let's shake on this. We're gonna make it.
And you see him practicing, which is actually true. We are mimics by nature. We learn our behavior through what we see from others. It's not just from anyone. It's through those that we respect, those parental figures to us, the people that we look up to. And we actually have these mirror neurons, these areas of our brain that react when we are trying to learn a behavior by watching someone else doing it. And so when you look at those little tiny ducks, these little tiny goslings that are imprinting upon it, yes, that's exactly what he's doing right now as well. He's learning from others. Sometimes it just might not be the best thing to do in the situation, and we might mimic it anyways. Especially when we're young, we end up learning not with a really conscious thought, but we just learn from those that we look up to, and that helped us learn much faster. It was highly adaptive when the world was a dangerous place, but now sometimes we learn these maladaptive behaviors, and it's really hard to get out of them, especially if we've been practicing them for a long time or we've been learning them under stress. Causes us to imprint much faster, much deeper, and it becomes wired into us because, remember, neurons that fire together, wire together. He doesn't know what a good or bad role model is. He hasn't had any role models. He hasn't really been taught how to behave, so he's kind of stuck at this very young level because he's a Kindle. But still, that's where he is.
Excuse me, sir, do you have the time?
You respect me. Why didn't Barbie tell me about patriarchy, which, to my understanding, is where men and horses run everything?
I think it's really tongue-in-cheek and very funny, but that you respect me. There's a huge dark undertone because for many people, that is how they feel. What they feel, they're not represented in their society, in their culture, in the people around them. And it's quite heartbreaking. It can lead to exceptionally deep feelings of helplessness, hopelessness, depression, aggression, stress, anxiety, and really easy for those that are in power or those that are elite or those that are in places of privilege to forget or to push away or to make people that are disenfranchised the other, that they don't matter, that they're the ones that are causing the problems, because that would mean that we have to look into ourselves and the culture that we have created and the things that we do that may be actually adding to this. And we don't like to think of ourselves as bad people, so often we want to kind of close our eyes to that, turn a blind eye so that we don't have to fix or change or do anything or carry that guilt that maybe part of why people are feeling this way could be because of us as well.
We failed them.
No, you failed me! Out there, I was somebody. People respected me just for who I am. One lady, she even asked me for the time.
No way.
You see how angry and how painful it is for him to have to go through that. When you suddenly know that it could be a different way, then you end up feeling all of this anger and resentment. Why weren't you cared about? Why weren't you good enough? Why did we allow this to happen? And that can end up bubbling out in a whole bunch of really malignant or unhealthy ways where we can become really aggressive or we can become upset or abrasive or push people away. And so often when you see someone, if they're acting really hurt or upset or exceptionally reactive, I think that we so often are like, oh, what's wrong with them? What is their problem? But I just see it as someone else is hurt. There's something horrible that has happened to them, and that's why they're reacting this way. And so sometimes some empathy or some thought or to be able to give someone some space can be really healing, because it's just so easy for us just to push people away and discard them or abandon them again and re-hurt them. Not saying that it is okay to be abrasive and aggressive or reactive to people, but sometimes if you can offer someone a little bit of space or understanding, that can be really healing.
This is my Mojo Dojo Casa house. It's not Barbie's. How's that feel? It is not fun, is it?
And you could say how hurtful he was for this, and I don't think that you should rub your prosperity or taking things from other people in someone else's face. That is one of the first things that helps us develop empathy. Often we don't feel empathy unless we have experienced something ourselves. The first time that you realized how much work it is to clean a house or to make a meal might have been the first time you cooked a meal. Or you might have thought that dishes just magically disappear in the dishwasher and come back clean. And you didn't really think of all of the work that your parents may have gone through in raising you, a child, before you were a parent yourself. So there is a certain amount of legitimacy in allowing someone else to experience things through going through them. And that's why when you're parenting, you want to allow your child to experience things not hurtful, not malicious, not something that's going to cause them permanent damage, but to be able to go through these brunts of life. I think that often we try to kind of bubble wrap children so that they don't learn from things, that they need to make mistakes. Remember, your job is not to protect your child from the world, not always to be able to fix their mistakes, but allow them to learn from their own. That helps them grow and develop into healthy adults. But you can tell that Ken is a super feeler, much more emotional, empathic person, because even through all of this, all the things that he's been through, he still feels bad that Barbie's hurt. He really does feel for her. He still does this, not saying it's right what he did, but I think that a lot of people sent a lot of hatred towards Ken and all of the horrible things that he did. Ken in a lot of ways represents the people that have gone through being on the flip side of power and how we react to that and how we might feel about it. So in a lot of ways, Ken is us.
I cried too. It's actually kind of amazing.
I'm a liberated man. I know crying's not weak.
Okay.
This, it was hard writing stuff. I didn't love it.
I get it.
I think that a lot of times people say that in order to empathize with someone else, to make someone else feel better. I think that sometimes we don't want to hear that, especially if it's something that someone might not actually get. If you haven't really been through it, and even if you have been through it, someone else's experience might be completely different than your own. And so sometimes when we're trying to empathize, people actually find that that is dismissive, and it makes us feel like they're not really listening to us because this is about our pain. Or they might even hijack the story and start talking about the bad things that they have had happen to them and kind of hijack the pain so that we can't have this moment to be able to have the attention and care on us. So sometimes just listening and I'm here for you and I see you is the right response.
Look, it wasn't about horses. I lost interest anyway.
That's okay.
I always thought this would be our house.
Oh.
It was just this moment when Barbie really understood that Ken was in love with her. I think that she didn't really treat him as a person. He was kind of just there. She was so wrapped up inside of her own world. And I think that often we can be wrapped up, especially if we're really busy. We have a lot of things to do. We can sometimes not notice all of the other things that are happening around us. And so sometimes we might be missing someone that might be feeling something or dealing with something until we actually pay attention to that.
I think I owe you an apology.
Huh?
I'm really sorry I took you for granted.
Oh.
Not every night had to be girls' night.
That's a really thought. You see, She recognized it, she apologized, but she also gave concrete examples of things that she should have done differently. So that's really validating, being able to go through that apology, but with a concrete example also. Not saying, I'm so sorry that you feel that way. Bad apology, please don't do that. It's not genuine, it's not affirming. No one likes that.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you.
Oh, I didn't mean to suggest,
And then he took that as being a little bit more than what it was, just because he was so excited and eager. But no, don't just try to kiss someone if you're not sure that they really want to be kissed back.
I just don't know who I am without you.
It's really hard for Ken because Ken was actually designed for her. Like, they were kind of made as a pair. So I think that in this case, it's even more difficult for Ken. But when you care about someone, it's hard to be able to be apart from that person, and it's hard to be able to separate in a way that might be healthy.
you're Ken.
But it's Barbie and Ken. There is no just Ken without it.
I'm just another blonde guy who can't do flips.
That hurt of not being able to do the flip still comes back to kind of haunt him. And it often happens that we relive all of those childhood traumas. Even something silly or ridiculous might come back and someone re-says something about our handwriting or how we can't do flips, and that hurt kind of comes back because those hurts from childhood we kind of carry like a backpack.
Maybe it's time to discover who Ken is. No. This isn't the answer.
I feel so stupid. No. I look so stupid.
Especially when in those dark places, we often have all of our negative self-talk that kind of comes back to haunt us. All of the things that we've been told or said or feared. But I like that the other Kens are there supporting him. They're kind of that positive part on our shoulder. You really want to work on being kind to yourself and being positive in the darkest of places, because that's the only time that it actually matters. When everything's going right, we actually don't need to be positive because we're already feeling it. It's only when we're really down that we need to monitor what are we saying to ourselves. And I would say journal it.
Okay, Ken, you have to figure out who you are without me.
Why?
And everyone needs to. Everyone needs to be able to be whole, to be that tree that can stand on its own. A healthy relationship, you have these two trees where the branches will intermingle, but one isn't leaning upon the other. One does not need the other one to exist or survive. That ends up becoming a relationship where one tree might be doing all of the supporting and will slowly exhaust itself.
You're not your girlfriend. You're not your house. You're not your mink.
Beach.
Nope, you're not even Beach.
And that's so true. I love what she's saying here because it's so true. We are not all of the things that adorn us. We are not our titles or our degrees or what we drive or how much money we make. We are who we are in the inside. And if you're not sure of who you are or what you want or how you feel right now, it is so important to be able to find that one so you can have healthy, happy relationships with others, but also so you can have it with yourself, because that's the most important relationship that you can have. But also, if you know how you feel and what you want and what makes you happy, then you can make choices to be able to find that right career and find that right person if you so want to. You can have it, but you don't have to have it in order to feel okay, because you feel okay with yourself.
Maybe all the things that you thought made you you aren't really you.
That could be a little bit overwhelming though. Existential thought of who am I, what is my place in the world can cause a lot of people anxiety. You don't have to find everything out right now, and you can just take a few steps, see what feels comfortable, and change your mind if you don't like it. And that's okay as well.
Me?
Yes.
Ken is me. Ken!
I think it's really symbolic, him throwing away the faux mink, because he doesn't need it. He doesn't need that bravado. And I think that often we overcompensate with expensive things, flashy things. And it's okay. It's okay to have flashy, fun, cute things that bring you joy and happiness. But that shouldn't be everything that you rely on. That shouldn't be your identity. That shouldn't be the thing that you need to make you feel okay. When you actually get rid of all of that and allow yourself just to be you, that you don't have to have this fake adoration in order to feel good enough, you just feel at peace. You don't feel like you have to run this rat race, that you're always chasing this amount of attention to have your bucket filled. It's full on its own, or sometimes it's even okay if it's sometimes empty. You don't have to find a book to read to learn about the patriarchy or any other subject that you want with today's sponsor, Brilliant.org. To learn a new skill, to get you prepared for whatever life has to throw at you, learn, enjoy, grow with Brilliant's ever-growing new set of courses. Brilliant makes college-level courses available to everyone. Yes, all of those Kens and Barbies of the world. Each course is designed for high-velocity learning to help you stay focused and reach your goals really fast. And Brilliant makes learning like a game with fun features that let you challenge yourself and compete with others. It never gets boring. And you know that learning is better when it's more fun and encouraging and engaging. It makes knowledge stick better, so you remember it more easily and longer lasting. And Brilliant has thousands of lessons from foundational to advanced math, AI, data science, neural networks, and many more, with new lessons added monthly. I so far have covered their courses on algebra, logic, geometry, and I found them all really engaging. I did their course on logic with challenging problem-solving exercise that I got to construct those critical thinking skills that are the basis for mathematical reasoning. Yes, Ken, you would probably enjoy it as well. It was fun and interactive, and my favorite thing being a visual hands-on learner is that I could choose the pace that I wanted to go at. I didn't feel any pressure, and they had all of these cool animations to actually explain to me and show me how things worked. They have a new course on how technology works and also thinking in code. Still not sure? Well, why don't you just try everything that Brilliant has to offer for free for a full 30 days. Just visit brilliant.org/Georgia Dow or click the link in the description. The first 200 people will get 20% off Brilliant's annual premium subscription. So just click on that button or head on over to brilliant.org/Georgia Dow. Clicking on that button really does help out this channel. So thank you so much, and thank you for Brilliant for sponsoring this video. These are my thoughts on Ken in the Barbie movie. I really found him quite endearing, and I think that his journey is very similar to many of our journeys as well. So you can let me know in the comments below what are your favorite Ken moments.